You ever get the feeling that, like, everyone's calling everyone else a narcissist these days?
Right.
Like, the word of the day, but what does it even mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So today, we're going deep on narcissism. We've got a bunch of sources, articles, things like that.
Yeah.
What they all seem to agree on is that a narcissist is someone who, like, at first they seem amazing,
Doubly charming.
charming,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But then, kind of underneath, there's this pattern of controlling behavior, manipulative behavior,
Yeah,
and it could be really, really damaging to be around a narcissist.
absolutely.
So how do we spot those signs? And even more importantly, how do we, like, protect ourselves if we find ourselves around one?
Well, and that's the thing, right? That initial charm, that's actually part of how they kind of hook you in. It's like a strategy almost.
Right.
But the thing is, underneath it all, there's this like core issue, and that is a lack of empathy.
Okay, so lack of empathy. That's something we see over and over in all these sources, right?
Yeah.
Like one article even says, everything is about them.
Mm.
But isn't everyone a little self-centered sometimes?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, where's the line?
Yeah, it's a great point. But with narcissists, it goes way beyond just being selfish. It's like they literally can't understand or even care about other people's feelings.
Right.
It's just not on their radar. Like their needs always come first and they'll just bulldoze over anyone to get what they want. And that lack of empathy, that's what fuels a lot of these other really damaging behaviors that we see with narcissists.
Like gaslighting, which a lot of our sources talk about that.
Oh, yeah.
And they say it's like a particularly insidious form of manipulation.
Totally. It's like a mind game almost, right? Where they're trying to just like twist reality. They'll like deny things that you know are true. They'll change the story.
Hmm.
And it makes you start to doubt yourself. Like, am I crazy? Am I remembering this wrong? It's all designed to kind of break you down and make you dependent on them.
So that they stay in control. Which brings us to, like, their need for validation.
Yes. Always needing praise, always needing attention.
All the time, right?
All the time.
Like they're always fishing for compliments?
Yes.
They need that attention.
Like that hunger for praise. It's never ending. It's like a bottomless pit.
Right.
And when they don't get it, they don't get the adoration that they think they deserve. That's when they often pull out another tactic.
What's that?
Playing the victim.
Ah, yes.
It's like their go-to move.
And, you know, it's funny because one of our sources just put it so simply.
Uh-huh.
Never taking responsibility.
Boom. That's it.
Like it's always someone else's fault.
Yeah, they're masters of deflecting.
Yeah.
By sharing the blame, they never have to actually face the consequences of their actions, right? It just reinforces that belief that they have, that they're superior, that they're always in the right. But here's the thing, and it's so important to remember this, that victimhood, it's an act. It's calculated. It's just another manipulation tactic designed to get sympathy and ultimately control the situation.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
I know, right?
And then on top of all of that, there's the exploitation.
Ugh. Yes.
Using people, discarding them when they're no longer useful. Like that's when it gets really dark.
Yeah, and that goes right back to that lack of empathy that we were talking about.
Right.
They see people as tools, as objects to be used to get ahead. And remember that charm we talked about, that initial charm?
Yeah.
Often that's part of a calculated strategy called love bombing. Like they shower someone with attention, affection, gifts, whatever it takes to gain their trust, and then ultimately they exploit them.
So it's like they're weaving this web
Yes.
and they're like luring you in and you don't even realize you're trapped until it's too late.
Exactly.
And then if you try to get out or you try to, say something, there's that extreme defensiveness.
Oh, absolutely.
Any kind of criticism, no matter how small, forget about it.
Huge backlash. Anger, denial, all of it.
Yeah.
Because that defensiveness, it's like a shield protecting this very, very fragile ego.
Right.
They can't handle any challenge to their carefully constructed image of perfection. And this is exactly why setting boundaries with a narcissist is so crucial.
Okay, so how do we actually do that? How do we protect ourselves from all of this?
Well, first of all, awareness is huge. Now that you know the signs, you can start to spot them.
Right.
And then you can start setting boundaries. Think of it like drawing a line in the sand.
Okay.
Like, this is as far as you go.
But what kinds of boundaries are we talking about?
Yeah, what does that look like?
Like, what does that actually look like in real life?
Well, it could be things like refusing to have those circular arguments that just go nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
It could be limiting contact or saying no to unreasonable demands.
Okay.
The key is to be firm and consistent. Don't let them push you around. And honestly, in some cases, limited contact or even no contact might be necessary.
Especially if they're just relentless with the manipulation, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some of the sources actually say that walking away, like cutting them off completely, might be the healthiest choice.
Sometimes it's the only way to break free from that toxic cycle.
Right.
And remember, you can't play their game.
Right.
Don't get sucked into those mind games. Don't try to reason with them emotionally. Stay calm, rational, stick to the facts.
That sounds really hard. Like, what if you're finding yourself just totally overwhelmed?
Yeah, it can be really tough. And that's where having a support system is so important. Like talking to a therapist can be incredibly helpful. Joining a support group maybe, or even just confiding in trusted friends and family, people who can give you perspective, validate your experience.
Right.
You're not alone in this.
You're not alone. And you deserve healthy relationships. And I think that leads into another really important point that came up in a lot of our research, which is knowing your worth.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Because narcissists, they often target people who are empathetic and caring.
Yes.
Don't let them twist those beautiful qualities into weaknesses.
Right. Like those are your strengths.
Yeah.
And recognizing that you're being manipulated, that's huge. That's the first step to reclaiming your power.
Yes.
And remember, you are not responsible for their behavior. You deserve to be treated with respect.
So we've talked a lot about the dark side of narcissism. But one thing that came up in some of the research, which I thought was interesting, was like, could some of these traits that we associate with narcissism, like ambition or charisma, could those actually be like beneficial in certain situations?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Right.
Kind of makes you think, right, about the complexity of human behavior.
Yeah.
Could these traits that we usually see as negative, could they be harnessed for good? Maybe, right? Maybe a healthy dose of self-belief and drive, could that actually help you achieve great things? As long as, you're not hurting other people in the process.
Right. Something to think about.
Right.
So if you're listening to this and, maybe you're thinking, oh gosh, I think I might be dealing with a narcissist. First of all, remember, you are not alone.
You're not alone at all.
And recognizing the signs, that's huge. Setting boundaries, super important. And seeking support, don't be afraid to reach out.
Yes.
And never, ever forget your worth.
Absolutely.
You deserve healthy, fulfilling relationships.
You do.
And that's what it's all about.
That's it.